If you walk into a car dealership and the salesman tries to convince you to pay $1 million for an economy car, simply because they slapped a Ferrari sticker on the hood and the engine made a pretty sound during a 10-second test drive, you don't buy the car. You laugh, turn around, and walk out the door. But Yankees fans and the New York media absolutely love buying sticker cars every March. The latest hysteria has a name, the 6'7" giant, Spencer Jones. The kid went to spring training camp and launched 3 balls into the seats. Instantly, the press started treating him like the second coming of Babe Ruth. But when you actually open the hood on this car, what you find is not a Ferrari engine. What you find is a development department bankruptcy filing with the New York Yankees letterhead at the top. Spencer Jones himself admitted that to make contact with a baseball, he had completely abandoned his natural hitting style and literally copied the foot landing mechanics of Shohei Ohtani. The most expensive prospect in the Bronx needed to imitate a Los Angeles Dodger just to save his own roster spot. Today, we're dissecting the anatomy of this spring training fraud. Why the 4 strikeouts Jones collected in those same 10 plate appearances prove the chronic problem was never solved. How baseball's fast karma punishes franchises that survive on spring illusions. And what it means when your general manager's outfield plan depends on swing piracy to compete in the toughest division in baseball. Before we put the analytical clipboard on your screen, I'm dropping it straight into your hands. Would you hand center field at Yankee Stadium to a player who is depending on a copy mechanical hack and striking out in nearly half his plate appearances? Or do you think the New York fan base is being played for fools yet again, falling headfirst into the spring training excitement trap? Think like an analyst with a cold mind and a warm calculator. Because spring training pitchers do not throw in the World Series. Let's walk into the scene of this development crime. Physics does not negotiate. Physics does not care about narrative. Physics does not read the back page of the New York Post. Spencer Jones is enormous at 6'7". The mechanical demands on his swing are fundamentally different from those of an average-size hitter. The timing window is narrower because the stride covers more distance. The rotation has to synchronize over a longer kinetic chain. Every millisecond delay at the front foot compounds by the time the barrel reaches the hitting zone. In 2025, Jones suffered precisely because his front leg was not landing on time. The stride was late, the weight transfer was off sequence, and by the time the barrel arrived, the pitch location had already moved past the optimal contact point. The result was a strikeout rate that would make any honest evaluator uncomfortable putting him in a big league lineup against quality starting pitching. So what was the brilliant solution that Jones and the Yankees coaching staff arrived at during the offseason? Point the big toe downward and anchor the body into ground at landing, exactly the way Shohei Ohtani does it. Let's be precise about what we're actually discussing here. Ohtani's toe-down landing is a mechanical choice that serves a specific purpose in his swing. It stabilizes the front hip, prevents early rotation, and allows him to stay back on off-speed pitches while still generating elite bat speed through the zone. When Ohtani does it, it is a product of years of refinement integrated into a swing architecture that was built around that specific movement pattern from the beginning of his professional development. Spencer Jones did not build his swing around this movement. He is retrofitting it. He is installing component design for a different mechanical system and hoping the engine doesn't reject it when the load increases. Spring training fastballs from non-roster pitchers do not constitute a stress test. 3 home runs off developmental arms in March are not evidence that the retrofit worked. They are evidence that Spencer Jones is a physically gifted athlete who can occasionally punish a mistake pitch even when his mechanics are compromised. The real diagnostic tool is not the home runs. It is the 4 strikeouts sitting right next to them in the stat line. 4 strikeouts in 10 plate appearances is a 40% strikeout rate against spring training pitching, against arms that will not be on an opening day roster, against pitchers who are working on specific sequences, rather than executing a game plan designed to expose a known weakness. If the strikeout rate is 40% in that environment, the honest projection for what it looks like against a Justin Verlander or a Garrett Cole level opponent, a pitcher who has scouted the timing issue, who has a plan to attack the front foot problem, who will throw 3 different breaking balls to 3 different quadrants of the zone to test whether the adjustment holds under pressure, That projection is not comfortable, and this is where the organization's broader development failure enters the conversation. The Yankees have invested enormous resources in Spencer Jones. Draft capital, development staff attention, promotional patience. He has been treated as a cornerstone piece of the future, protected from trades and held up as evidence that the farm system can produce impact players without needing to spend on the open market. The karma for that organizational faith is arriving right now in the form of a prospect who, entering what should be a breakout spring, is not refining his own mechanics. He is copying someone else's. That is not a small detail. That is a flashing warning light on the development dashboard. When a player arrives at his moment of competitive audition, having borrowed the mechanical identity of another hitter, it tells you something important. The internal development process did not produce a solution. The player and the coaching staff could not build an answer from within the existing framework. They went outside the system, found something that works for a completely different kind of athlete in a completely different organizational context, and tried to transplant it. That might work. Mechanical adjustments in hitting are not inherently illegitimate. Players borrow concepts from each other constantly at every level of the sport. The question is not whether the concept is borrowed. The question is whether it was integrated deeply enough to hold up under the specific pressure of a pennant race in October. A 10-meter test drive does not answer that question. 3 spring training home runs do not answer that question. The Yankees' championship window is not a developmental timeline. Aaron Judge is not getting younger. Garrett Cole's contract is not getting shorter. The AL East is not getting softer. And Brian Cashman's roster construction decisions, the Volpe bet, the Bellinger panic, the Seager rejection from Texas, have created a situation where the outfield depth needs Spencer Jones to be a genuine solution, not a project with a borrowed swing. The media will celebrate the home runs. The fan base will generate excitement. The highlight reels will circulate. This is what March does. It manufactures hope out of small sample sizes and warm Florida air. But the analyst's job is to look past the adrenaline and ask the harder question. When a left-handed power pitcher throws Jones a slider that starts at his hip and finishes off the plate in the dirt, does the Ohtani toe-down adjustment keep him on the pitch long enough to recognize the break? Or does it create a new timing vulnerability that replaces the old one? That question will not be answered in spring training. It will be answered in the 3rd week of April, in the 6th inning of a close game against a pitcher who has watched film. The Bronx deserves that honest conversation before it falls in love with 3 home runs against pitchers who won't be in the league in June. So the analytical clipboard is in your hands right now, knowing that Jones is working with copied mechanics, knowing the strikeout rate is alarming even in this environment, knowing the Yankees need a real center field solution rather than a developmental experiment. Do you hand Spencer Jones center field at Yankee Stadium and trust that the Ohtani adjustment holds up when it actually matters? Or do you call this what it is, a Ferrari sticker on an economy car, and demand that the front office find a real solution before the season begins? Drop your verdict in the comments. Jones is real, the adjustment works, give him the job. Or spring hype is a lie. The Yankees need a real center fielder. Because in New York, you don't get credit for beautiful test drives. You get credit for what you do when the road gets rough in September. And don't blink. While we're separating spring training reality from spring training fiction in the Bronx, a significant roster earthquake just rattled the NL East overnight. A division rival just made a stunning move that could completely reshape the competitive balance heading into opening day. What that move is, and what it means to the Yankees' postseason picture, that story drops in the next video. Stay locked in.